Hi, I'm Advanced Fitness and Wellness Specialist Kimberly Lou, and welcome to my 90-day personal freedom program, a complete guide to eliminate destructive patterns and unlock the ultimate you. As you all know, we've talked about it, I've trained thousands of people, A-list celebrities, professional athletes, cognitive disabilities like schizophrenia, multiple personality disorders, and now I'm here, I'm going to train you. I'm super excited and I've been getting lots of feedback from these videos. Thank you. I love your emails. Your emails really help keep me going. They keep me knowing that you're wanting this program. The program is needed. And you guys are super excited about getting ready to jump in. And you're like, okay, we're ready. But first, I need to slow you down a little bit before we can go. We need to slow down before we can go fast. It's really important. Today, we're going to be talking about belief systems. And I want to talk about what belief systems are and why it's so important to address them and change them before we can move on in the program. This is the most important part of our program, to where we can switch our mindset so that we have that particular mindset to get us ready and through this entire program. Today, I want to address some of your questions before we get started. Some of you have emailed and have said, and the number one question that I get asked is, why is this happening to me? You know, I really want this program. I really want to succeed. I really want to lose the weight. I really want to move and take my life, my business, my parenting, everything to the next level, and I just can't seem to do it. And it seems like my neighbor's doing it. He's just skipping his way all the way to success, and it seems so easy for them. Why is it so hard for me to take action? Why is it so hard for me to change? And why does it feel like my whole life is resisting that change? My whole body, my whole being is resisting this new person that I'm wanting to become. How come? And the reason is what I call a belief system. Now, a belief system, it's like, what is a belief system? It's like, okay, I get it. What I call a belief system is something that we have created, a story that we have created, and we play out that story from childhood over and over and over again. We play out that story every day, day in and day out. And that story is, I call it a survival skill. It's what got us to where we needed to go, but now is slowly killing us. For example, I had a client one time, and she was talking about how she could never get a second date. And she was saying, well, I think it's just all men are pigs, and I'm fat, and they don't like me because I'm really heavy. And I said, well, if you were fat and they didn't like you because you were heavy, then why did they ask you out in the first place? Now, she challenged my question. And then she kept failing at this dating thing, and she finally said, you know what, Kim, I need help. Will you please help me? So we set up kind of a blind date for her. And it was like a blind date, but it was with like a bunch of people. So I could just sit and observe and understand, like, okay, what is happening? And so she was super funny and flirtatious and fun. But the minute that she found that that guy was interested in her, subconsciously, she closed off. For example, she started to fold her arms. She started to frown when she was talking. She was very competitive, and then she also started getting very aggressive with her words. And so I was like, whoa, what happened to my fun, flirty little fun friend? But the minute that she found that that guy had interest in her, her whole demeanor changed on the spot. And then so after the date, she said, what happened? Again, another date. And I said, well, I'm not going to mention names, but, you completely changed. She had no idea that she was doing it. And so I kind of role played what I saw her doing. And she realized that, I talked to her. I said, well, what happened to you as a child that made you, feel like so on guard? Because the minute he started liking you, you shut down. You put this wall up, and he couldn't get through. And she said, well, I was sexually abused by my father, and I learned that all men couldn't be trusted and were pigs. And so she had this belief system that she carried with her for her whole entire life. And anytime a man would try to get close to her, she would put a wall up. So what we did was we started to give her the tools, some of the tools that I'm going to share with you in this 90-day program, And we started to implement and give her the tools to safely open up and allow herself to be feminine and flirty without feeling insecure or unsafe. And I have to say that she met the man of her dreams, and she is married today. It is so important. And she just needed to do a little mindset shift in order to change herself. Because think about it. If you're like in sales, okay, and you don't believe in the product that you're selling, a lot of times in your body language is like, okay, well, I have this product. Do you want it? You think that if you're really wanting to be, if you're not really wanting to be there, your body's going to follow. You're going to slump your shoulders. You're going to frown. You're going to do all these things at a subconscious level that you may not even know that you're doing. And then you can say, see, I told you I'm not a salesperson. You know, another example I can think of is like a baby elephant. You know, the circus, unfortunately, how they train their baby elephants is they tie them up with a steel rod. And so every time that that elephant tries to get through or try to break free, he's not going anywhere. So as that elephant starts to grow up, when he's a full-grown elephant, all that trainer has to do is just tie him up with a string, and that elephant will stay there. He has been programmed since he was a baby to believe that he can't break free from that rope. And it's very important to start to begin to change our beliefs as well. And you know, I told you about my stand-up story. You know, I was literally drowning, and my belief was that I was drowning, and I was drowning in 2 feet of water. And once I realized that I just had to put my feet down and stand up, then when I did, I saved myself. So as silly as this sounds, like literally, we have these belief systems that take us out and make us feel like we're drowning every day, all day, day in and day out. And it's really important. When that lifeguard told me, put your feet down, and I was able to stand up after feeling embarrassed, and I sobbed, but then I started to laugh at myself because it was like, how absurd that all I had to do was put my feet down. And as silly as that story is of standing up in 2 feet of water, if I wouldn't have stand up, I could have literally died and drowned in my emotions. Because if it's hysterical, it's historical. Like for me, I always feel like, it's like, what does that mean? Okay, if you have a big emotion around something, or somebody triggers, like somebody looked at you in a certain way, like what about when you were a kid, right? And your mom looked at you a certain way. Somebody can give you that same look, and it can take you immediately to childhood. You can immediately get defensive. And we do this on a regular basis. And so what we're going to be doing further down in the program is we're going to be giving you tools to be able to identify your belief systems. And sometimes some people call them blind spots, because that girl, she didn't know that she was frowning and crossing her arms and getting really kind of aggressive with this guy. She had no idea. And so we just had to shine a flashlight on her blind spot, change her belief system around it, like instead of I'm not safe to I am safe, and then create a whole new belief system around it, like, okay, I'm okay. It's going to be okay. But it is a small perspective shift. It's kind of like if you have an accident, there's an accident there and there's several witnesses, you're going to have several stories. And my question is, if you're going to make up a story about your life, you might as well make up one that serves you. You know, most of us, we have a story that we've told ourselves, and we add so much significance and make so much meaning to what we think it was. For example, that woman, the story was she was molested by her father. She made it mean that she was dirty, that all men are pigs, that men can't be trusted, and that I'm not safe. Well, what we did was we scratched that whole thing and realized that the story, it's like, okay, there is a story, and just because it happened, I'm not adding discredit to what happened, okay? Yes, she was molested and it was painful. But you don't have to make it mean a particular thing. You can make it mean like, okay, well, I'm going to set boundaries. I'm going to learn how to communicate. I'm going to learn how to attract the right people into my space so that I am safe. And so it's just that perspective shift that gets you thinking from negative into a belief system that empowers you on a day-to-day basis so that you can live the life that you love. So now that we've addressed your belief system, from now I'm going to call it your BS. You're bullshit, literally. And what we're going to do now is we're going to do a little visualization. Now, I want you to imagine your behavior right now that you want to change. The behavior that is literally dragging you down. And I want you to imagine, like, how does it feel to have that BS, that belief system holding you back? And think about it. How does it make you feel when you're in it? Like, for example, I was talking to a friend the other day, and he was having a hard time with firing somebody. And he had a belief system around how that if he let this person go, that there wouldn't be nobody else around him. Nobody else would be able to step up and do this particular job for his company like this person did. So I asked him, you know, okay, so if this person doesn't step up, what's going to happen to the rest of your company and the rest of your employees when you're waiting on this person to do their job? How is that going to make you feel? How do you feel right now? And he said, well, I feel exhausted. And I said, okay. And is this a pattern? Has this happened before in your life? And he said, yeah, actually, I have carried this with me throughout my whole entire life. And I said, okay, well, if it's hysterical, it's historical. What happened? And he said, well, my mom left me. All right. And so, and I said, okay. And I said, well, what happened then? And he said, well, I was waiting for her to come back, and she didn't come back for a very, very, very long time. And she left me with people, and I was starving, and I couldn't rely. So fast forward 40 years, he's got the same issue in his life that is happening over and over again, but now it's happening with his employees. They're like checking out. They're not showing up. They're abandoning him, and he's not wanting to let them go because he's thinking that one day they're going to show up and they're going to start doing their work. But really, that wasn't the case. And so I said, okay, think about that. Now carry that belief with you 5 years from now, where nobody's stepping up and you're having to do all the work all the time. How does that feel for you? How does that feel for your body? And he said, it doesn't feel very good. And I said, exactly. I said, and how are you going to be as a parent if you're super exhausted and you are constantly having to do everybody else's job because nobody is doing their part? How is that going to make you feel 10 years from now? Are you going to want to continue running your business? And he said, no, I'm really exhausted now, and I can't even imagine carrying 10 more years of this on my shoulders. He said, I'd rather quit. And I said, I get it. So what the question is that I'm asking you is, if you do not change your belief system, what's it going to affect? Like, for example, if you have an autoimmune disorder and you're eating particular foods that are hurting your body, do you think your body's going to be able to withstand that for a long time? Or do you think your body's going to break down? You know, how about your parenting? How about your stress levels? So I really want you to imagine what your life is going to look like 10 years down the line when you've carried all of this baggage from your past with you. And have you noticed that you keep replaying the same belief system over and over and over again? Sucks, doesn't it? Now, scratch it up, scratch it, scratch it, scratch it. I want you to now kind of shake it out and just know that it hasn't happened. But I want you to now see that, you know, you didn't do anything wrong. There isn't you're not a bad person because you have this belief system. You know, you don't have to do everything yourself. But the thing is what you want to do is you want to identify what energy drains are holding you back so that we can now clip them. But the only way we can do that is when we start taking a hard look at the truth, because the truth will set you free. It's kind of like the Wizard of Oz. Dorothy was looking for this great big wizard, and she's going down the yellow brick road, and she's, you know, running in and coming into obstacles and things like that, and she finally gets to the wizard, and then she pulls the curtain back, and it reveals just an old man. It's just a regular old man. There wasn't a big wizard. And it's kind of like our dreams. Our dreams are the same way. If you are running in your, let's just say you have a nightmare and you're running from the monster in your dream, the monster gets bigger and bigger and bigger. But if you can will yourself to wake up in your dream, you can turn around and face that monster, and that monster most of the time will turn into a teddy bear or disappear or just go away. And that's the same with you. If you just pull back the curtain, you'll see the truth. And once you know the truth, it will literally set you free. And so carrying our BS with us for our whole lives can be pretty heavy, can it? And pretty significant. And the significance we add to the story really drains our energy, and it's really important to make sure that we kind of let that go so that we can have our energy back. And again, that's why I call it, my program is based on emotional fitness. That's one of the primary aspects of it. But with my client, you could see that he was clearly facing something completely different. He didn't want to let that web person go because he was afraid of being abandoned. His whole issue, like I said, if it's hysterical, it's historical. He didn't want to let that web person go because he was afraid that nobody else could take care of him the way that web person did. Come to find out, that web person wasn't doing any work. He spent 6 months finishing something that should have taken 1 week. So when we found out what the blind spot was, he was able to get clear so that he could let this person go, and then he was able to hire somebody to get him back on track with his company, and his other employees were super happy because he was holding on to this one particular person so tight, everyone else around them were suffering. So he was able to see, oh my goodness, this is not healthy. Let's let this person go. So then he was able to hire somebody else and create synergy again within his company and with him. And as a result, he felt lighter. So that's what I'm going to teach you how to do. I want to teach you how to address your belief system and see the blind spot of it, right? And so again, we're going to take you through a 7-step process in the next video to help you walk you through what happened. If it's hysterical, it's historical, and then lead you through the point. Because here's the deal too. You are so used to living in your past and your old beliefs. Most people don't know how to live into their new life. That's why you keep failing. That's why you keep, quitting your programs, because you start to get into this little bit of goodness over here and it feels uncomfortable because you've never lived it before. So what I'm going to do is give you the tools to be able to experience this and start to ingrain it into your subconscious mind. So not only do you see your blind spot, then you start to visualize and see the future that you've always wanted and really get comfortable in it. So this is why everything is happening to you. And this is why you keep failing and going back to your old life. And I just want you to know your thoughts, they are an illusion. They are not real. And so what we're going to be doing, again, is we're going to be helping you uncover what that blind spot is so that we can determine what is real so that we can walk out your new future. It's literally the story of standing up. You don't have to drown in 2 feet of emotion. Your emotions will take you out if you let them. So we're going to create this emotional fitness to help you live the life that you love. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Kimberly Lou, and if this video helped you out in any way, please press like and subscribe, and remember, you don't have to do this alone. We're going to work this out together.